Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Ed. Today I'm going to be talking again about BOXL. My previous DD in the description if you would like to check it out after this video. Make sure to drop a like to help this channel grow, subscribe and leave your notifications on to get the latest out of videos. I'm going to go through technical analysis here, and then I'm going to go through latest news and what I think about the stock and how it's going to move forward. So first things first, you get to look into the 1 month 1 day here. You get to see that the ADX has declined all the way from where it was on 60 or anything above usually 50 or 45 is a little bit unstable and usually is a warning sign that a trend might be broken, and it did give that kind of warning sign somewhere around the 17th before it started dipping down. Now on the million% scale, the stock is still oversold. Momentum has recovered a little bit from where it was on the 3rd, but it's still quite low. MACD seems to be still on a decline, a little bit more stable, almost sideways trading from all the way from the 3rd to the 7th, so all last week, and volumes have died down quite a little. Now, looking in terms of the averages, we see 10 SMAs above 30 EMA. The stock is in the trading action zone where reversals are likely, although this trading action zone, as you can see, is squeezing it in. So that might be a little bit interesting to see, where probably sometime by Tuesday or Wednesday is the last chance where it gets to actually get use of that trading action zone. The stock is above the 50 SMA and the 200 SMA, so moving averages are still bullish here. Now, moving on towards the 1 hour. What we get to see here is that the ADX is picking up, showing a possibility for trend forming. The willing %R looks like it's actually ended up being overbought, although it's sitting in at neutral almost all day. The MACD is curving upwards, where it seems to be a reversal that is trying to go for here. So you might actually still see a really nice recovery on Monday, although not as good a recovery as we've seen before. Now the stock price on the 1 hour scale, the 30 EMA is above the 10 SMA, but the stock is in the trading action zone. On the 1 hour scale, stock price is under the 50 SMA and the 200 SMA. So overall, this does look a little bit more bearish to me in terms of the moving averages, with a chance of a reversal. So moving on now, we get to see the stock is trading way below its moving average band. So that's a little bit dangerous here for us. You would like us to see it a little bit trading within the band. Now the band middle lane is around 257 and bottom's 232. That's what you'd expect it to trade at, but it has broken down below that. So now moving on towards Fibonacci retracements and finding supports and resistances, we get to see the Fibonacci support currently sitting in a 177. The current support that it's sitting at is 202 based on traditional, and then we're seeing under that around 189. Then of course the 177 on the Fibonacci support, and then we're seeing below around the 153 mark. Now, in terms of coming in on resistances, we see around 213 here, and then above that, we're seeing the 220, 216, 227, or 225, and Fibonacci resistance at 232, and then right above that, around 25. Now, coming in different, perhaps trends or whatnot, nothing significant comes to mind in here. Try to look a little bit towards the 3 months, 1 day perspective, and you get to see the trend line that was formed before has been broken somewhere around there. Nothing significant seems to be here for me. Let's try quickly draw perhaps the Fibonacci arc. Still nothing going to be significant until perhaps Tuesday or Thursday. Tuesday or next Wednesday, where might actually test a reversal. Now, how am I going to trade this? I'm going to go through that just a little bit after the news. So, institutional purchases. There's one on Friday. They bought around 185,000. Shares for the stock. That's the last one. Before that, there's around the 31st, where they've increased their value around 30 times more. So and shares increased almost 2,000% more. So that's interesting to see more institutional interest on it. Now moving on towards latest news. Of course, they did have a public offering that was around, I believe, $2 per share. The price is currently trading at 207. It did not fully recover from that offering, so that really dipped it down. The offering is already closed, and it did add additional for around, I believe, 15 million shares. That's basically the same news regarding the offering. So there's no other PR coming in after the offering that has been out. Before the offering, they regained NASDAQ compliance, so that's amazing. We're looking at here as well, coming in towards the last year earnings was on August 13th. So what about this year's earnings? So this year's earnings is happening on the 21st. Now we do expect a PR confirming that. Usually they do. Now coming in towards the EPS, they've had beaten up their EPS before, but the revenue has not been met before. Usually people look in terms of the EPS, and you can get to see the EPS has been beaten up, at least in last year around November. You see negative zero, so almost 50% surprise. Now, how am I going to be trading this? There's a lot of different news coming in towards schools reopening without technology blend, or sorry, without distant learning, or some schools opening in with distant learning options. So that's a little bit interesting to see. So I wouldn't count very much on all, for instance, 50 states to open up, just open up fully. For instance, you probably have a little bit of divided things. Politics is playing into this too, where for instance, the Republican side is more regarding on opening schools, and Democratic side is more about closing schools. But it's also mixed too. So you'd find, for instance, New York has chosen to open schools, even though it's one of the states that was previously very much hurt. I do expect Florida perhaps would open up schools. Georgia already opened up schools. So it's a little bit of an interesting play. And if you're counting on 100% to have distance learning in the fall, I really doubt that it would be very much as anticipated that we'd have a massive amount, something like in billions of dollars. It probably would see a bit more revenue from there that would help this. But there's a lot of competitors out there, and they would have to get a piece of the pie. So based on that alone, based on it being a play just on that sole catalyst, I wouldn't hold my ground on it. I would definitely want to look at what their other products is, and looking through this company, I do expect a positive PR coming in towards there. What I wanted to see is I want to see accumulation happening, at least for a little, around the $2 and the 210 phase, where it's where I would definitely consider going in. Now, why am I waiting for an accumulation and not jumping right in? Because the downside would easily, let's say if this stock for instance tanks, and I really doubt that it would tank, you can instantly see perhaps halving your money right away. So that's a little bit of a dangerous thing, and I want to see a little bit of a confirmation that that's kind of the new bottom that we found. That's the bottom that it's going to stick to. So when would I get in? Definitely very much closer to the earnings. I want to see the MACD a little bit start curving up on the 1 day perspective. I want to see a little bit of a recovery phase. Here the MACD is actually the most negative we've seen it. I want to see a little bit of attention picking up the volume, and the price moving on above the trading action zone. Then I would consider jumping in. As of right now, this is definitely, for instance, a hold for me, a little bit dangerous. If it does dip, I would definitely put a stop limit somewhere around the 154 mark, just in case. But definitely considering it, and I will do mention my entry on Twitter. What do you think about this ticker? Make sure you mention down in the comments below. Guys, subscribe and like, and you have a wonderful day.